Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleschourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleschourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back to Just Ask Her, the podcast that helps you date with confidence, connect with real women, and finally feel in control of your dating life. I'm your host, Gracie, here with my mom, certified life coach, and co-host Tracy, and we're excited to be back for another episode.
Yes, we are. And you can actually see us because we remembered to turn on our lights.
Yep.
We were kind of in the dark on the whole last episode.
Yep, that's okay.
It's okay.
Still hear us well.
Yeah. We are just like a grassroots, get it done kind of podcast.
Yeah, we're
Doesn't
getting
matter
you
if
the
they can
information.
see us, just as long as they can hear us.
I guess so.
All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. Submission 1 is written in by Anonymous, and he says, I'm 40, a lawyer by trade, a mountaineer at heart, and an advisor to corporations on decarbonization strategies. I love diving, painting, and gardening. I've never been married. My longest relationship was 2.5 years, and I live with my dog, in parentheses, says female, and I'm currently single. Good thing we know it's a female dog.
Could be Meatball's new girlfriend.
Yeah. All right. He says, I've reached a point in my life where I've learned from experience. I used to think I needed to be a player and sleep with as many women as possible, that this was masculine, that this was being a man. Over time, I realized I'm no longer comfortable with that idea of masculinity. Not only is it toxic, it also shields me from real connection. For the past few years, I've been exploring what it truly means to be a man, embracing my feminine side and learning how to honor it. I'm noticing beauty in women I didn't appreciate before, the sweetness and effort that go into getting dressed, how any woman, regardless of traditional beauty standards, can be gorgeous in her own way, and the many ways I can show up as a man beyond money or things. I feel like I'm embracing masculinity without fearing the feminine, but I'm lost when it comes to dating. I don't know how to engage or flirt anymore. Women see me as a great friend, not a romantic interest. Maybe it's a confidence issue. Maybe I've been hurt and hurt others enough that I'm afraid to lose relationships. So my approach has become 100% friendly instead of flirty. How do I show romantic interest again without slipping into the just friends and without reverting to that old toxic version of masculinity?
Yeah. I would imagine there's a lot of guys that can relate to this. I have guys that work with me that have a different viewpoint than they used to, or they once did when it comes to dating. There's always been a lot of rhetoric in the media about how men should behave and how they should present themselves and what's toxic versus what's not. And I don't know, it's just kind of exhausting, to be honest. I can imagine how you guys must feel seeing so many different point of views when it comes to this subject. And I think that the reason why men like working with me, why they like listening to this podcast, is because they get real feedback from a woman's perspective. I have learned a lot about how men and women differ and the things that they want or the things that they look for in relationships, which generally tend to lean more so on the side of the way that you make them feel versus anything else. And a woman's needs aren't always super aligned with a man's needs. We also have very different hormone makeups. And for those reasons, the levels of our needs and desires are very different. And so when I read stuff like this, or when I work with men that thought that the idea of masculinity and what that looked like was getting with as many women as you can and showing that you're a man in that sort of way, when it's like, to women, the most masculine men are the ones that actually make them feel seen and understood and valued and desired. And so I think it's just so interesting. At the core, we all want the same thing. It's like love and connection, but sometimes it looks very different. At least the start of it looks very different to a man versus a woman.
Yeah, I am really glad that you have decided to drop that performative masculinity and that you've recognized and also decided how you're going to think about that. You're not thinking about it as you're going soft. You're thinking about it as becoming the next best version of yourself. and you've learned from your past, and those kind of beliefs didn't get you what it is that you now want. And so you've changed course. And I think that that is really, really smart.
For anybody listening to this, if you're not getting the results that you want, it's okay to challenge your line of thinking, even if it's something that you've thought for a really long time, even if it's something that you were always taught. We're really good at, as humans, this is something that I have actively had to work on, letting go of old beliefs, especially the ones that don't serve me. I would classify myself as a stubborn person. I have in the past had very strong beliefs about certain things that turned out not to be true for me. Maybe they were for other people, but not necessarily for me. And my pride or my ego had a lot to do with not wanting to let those things go. So I can definitely relate to what it is that you're saying here. And I think that a lot of men can relate to this. The message that is really important for all of you to hear is that it's okay to evolve and to change your mind about something that you once thought. Sometimes one of the hardest things to do, but one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to look at, is this working for me? And if it's not, then it's not. And we don't need to debate it or argue it or try to make it work or force something to work. If it doesn't work for you, why don't we look at a new perspective?
So since Gracie gave you a bunch of coaching advice, I'm going to give you some tactical advice. You had asked, how do I flirt without having that mask of masculinity on? And I would say, think of romance as 3 signals that need to be sent really early on and very consistently. And the first is using language with intent. So instead of saying something like, you want to hang out next Friday, be very specific and ask for the date. Let her know up front that this is more of a romantic ask, not a platonic, I want to just go hang out.
No, say, I want to take you out next week. When are you free?
On a date.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think that clarity is going to prevent any sort of misreads that it sounds like he has experienced. Research on flirting shows that miscommunication is common when the intent is implied instead of named. So be direct and make sure your intent is clear. It doesn't have to be abrupt or aggressive. It can still be kind, but make sure you are being very specific. Secondly, body language or the attention that you're giving her, holding eye contact a little bit longer than what you would with like a colleague, right? So you're just holding it a couple seconds longer. Studies have shown that mutual gaze increases romantic feelings, and people literally look more to the face when they're in love or have a connection versus lust. It's a small shift, but it's definitely a powerful one.
And I think it's one that a lot of people actively avoid. It's like
they feel
an awkward pause and they immediately make that mean something has gone wrong. And normal conversations ebb and flow. It's okay to have natural pauses in a conversation. Even on a date, it's okay to not fill all the gaps with conversation. It's something that I work heavily on with my clients because it can be a flirting tactic. Taking the moment of silence and using it to your advantage. Use it as an opportunity to build some tension into the conversation. It's not like a creepy stare. It's just like holding eye contact just a little bit longer than you normally would in other conversations to show you're observing her or you're observing the conversation that the two of you are in. It's very attractive when it's done right. And it's not that hard to do. You just have to like look at her a couple extra seconds. And she's going to start to blush. She's going to start to be like, oh my gosh, like, what is he thinking? And all the things. And that's exactly what you want. That's what flirting is. It's like this kind of like unspoken tension between the two of you.
Yeah. And then the third would be being vulnerable in sharing of yourself, like not in like a confessional type way.
Or a self-deprecating way. But share a personal detail that maybe is even just tied to the moment, right? And there, again, research shows that the appropriate self-disclosure reliably increases liking and closeness. So these are 3 tactical ways to flirt that are supported by research. Showing romantic interest is exactly that. It's learning when to spice the conversations up, learning when to add some flirtiness for the first date or when you're first meeting her. Be playful, like be kind of unexpected, right? Don't have the same old conversations that you would have with any other friend. Like, oh, how's it going? how's work been? What have you been up to? No, spice up the conversation. Throw in different types of desire language rather than the platonic language that you would use with other people. That's a great way to like really show your romantic interest, but also you can just communicate it clearly. If you're into somebody, don't wait weeks to tell her that. Don't try to build a friendly rapport first. Just tell her. Just let her know. Like, hey, I'm into you. I'd love to take you out. And then if she takes you up on it, great. Then we can work on like actually building and establishing more of a romantic connection. But we can't get there until you actually make the ask. So I would say that's step number one. And then it's on to building more of a romantic connection. You get put in the just friends category when you wait too long, or when you try to build more of a friendship first. It's a lot harder to get out of the friend zone than it is to just keep yourself out of it altogether.
Yeah. And Anonymous, one more thing before we let you go. I want to manage your expectations that your fear-based brain is going to turn on, and it's going to tell you things like, if I flirt, I might get hurt. I want you to catch that and remind yourself that you expected it. That's what your fear-based brain does. It's always scanning for danger. And you can respond intentionally with a better feeling thought. Like, romantic clarity is kindness. When you're really clear about who it is that you want to ask out, how you're asking them out, how you're flirting, that's what it looks like to be kind to both her and yourself. And remind yourself that you can tolerate any feeling. It's just an emotion. They're never going to kill us. We're meant to feel them all. You can also expect that your brain is going to tell you that you need her approval to feel attractive. And I want you to catch that and try on the thought that it's your job to give yourself the approval, not to look for it from other people. And then lastly, you come off as arrogant when it looks like you're trying to prove something, where confidence services the relationship. And arrogance is an insecurity, where confidence appreciates others while still holding your own standards. We give the advice a lot to decide ahead of time what it is that you want, what it is that you're looking for, what your standards are, what your non-negotiables are. And most importantly, recognize what it is that you're bringing to the table. Our Self-Made Man journal, it's the very first chapter. You can't even move on to the daily journals or get into the date log without setting those standards first. You have to start with you. Those would be homework that I would offer you. Decide who it is that you're looking for and what it is that you bring to the table, and be on the lookout for those fear-based thoughts that could easily put you back into that position of that performance masculinity. When you catch it, you're going to be way more likely to challenge those thoughts and come up with better feeling thoughts. So that is my advice. Anything else that you want to say, Gracie?
No, I think that's all great. I think we've given him a lot to kind of think about and move forward with. Kudos to you for noticing old patterns that aren't working for you and working on trying to find ones that do. It's finally here. The Self-Made Man Dating Journal is officially live and ready for you to grab on Amazon. This was designed specifically for single men who are serious about improving their dating life. It helps you track your dates, reflect on your experiences, and actually learn from them, so you can stop repeating old patterns and start seeing real progress.
What I love most about this journal is how intentional it is. It's not just about writing down what happened. It's about helping you get clear in what you want, confident in how you're showing up, and connected to what's working and what's not. You'll find daily prompts, weekly reflection pages, and the date log. You'll record everything from how you felt before the date, what went well, what felt off, and what you do differently next time. That kind of self-awareness is what sets successful daters apart. This journal will help you slow down, spot patterns, and become more intentional with every single interaction.
We only printed a limited batch for this first run, so if this is something you've been needing, go grab it now before they're gone. We'll drop the link in the show notes and let us know what you think. We love hearing your guys' feedback.
We can't wait for you to start using the Self-Made Man Dating Journal.
All right, Submission 2 was written in by Alex, and it says, "Hi, Gracie and Tracy. Back in June/July, I was dating a 36-year-old woman I met on Hinge. I'm 42. We hit it off quickly on our first dinner date, and we seemed very compatible. She wanted an active guy. I practice martial arts, run, lift weights, and I'm a doctor. We were on the same page about marriage and kids. She has a little boy she adopted through family, and she works in finance. We talked on the phone between dates. Dates 1 and 2 were dinner. Date 3 was a park walk plus dinner. Date 4 was a movie and dinner. We kissed at the end of each date, held hands on dates 3 and 4, and she texted the night of and the next day with blush emojis and notes about which movie selfies she liked the most. I haven't heard from her since July 4th, the day after our 4th date. It wasn't unusual for us to text photos, her son, my nieces, and nephews, and I sent a few from my parents' lake/beach house that day, not expecting a reply. By Sunday, July 6th, she missed our planned phone call. We had a 5th date set for Tuesday, July 8th. I texted on Monday, July 7th to confirm, but got no response. The day after the missed date, I reached out to ask if she was okay and safe. A week later, I left a voicemail, and a couple of weeks ago, I sent one last text asking why things stopped so suddenly. I'm new to being ghosted. I know I reached out more than I should have and won't contact her again, but I'm surprised someone who has an adopted son and attends church/Bible study would do this. I'm working on letting her go, but deep down, I still want her back. Do you have any impressions or advice? I hope she reaches out one day, but I know I needed to let go, and I'm seeing a therapist now. This is the first time in a while that I've felt this strongly about someone since my last long-term relationship ended. Thank you. I love the podcast and appreciate your honest feedback." What the hell?
God. My first reaction is,
Did she die?
yeah, like, does she have any friends that he met? And
Yeah.
I mean, it had only been
They'd only
a
gone
handful
on.
of dates, but
Yeah.
yeah, it really does make you like concerned for her safety because it seems odd that somebody does that.
Yeah.
To his point, she seems like a very
Normal.
considerate, respectful woman.
Yeah.
So what happened? But Alex, first off, thank you for trusting us with this and all the details, your clarity, your care, and even your restraint after that final text tells me that you are a man who values connection and self-respect. And that matters more than you think. And here's how I see it through the coaching lens. The facts are simple. After date 4, she stopped responding. There was a missed call, and she didn't show up for the 5th date. Everything else, someone who goes to Bible study wouldn't do this. All of that are just interpretations. So I really want you to separate the story that your primitive brain is telling you from the facts. Facts don't hurt us. Our thoughts about the facts are incredibly painful. And when you really understand that, it returns the control back to you.
It's so hard not to do. And as humans, we're wired that way. Like, that's how we operate on default. Your brain is constantly scanning for danger, constantly trying to keep you safe. And so any unwanted feelings immediately set off alarm bells and get your brain starting to spin on what could have happened. Like, what did I do? Like, is she okay? Did I do something wrong? Like, all the things. And it's so normal. This situation is really freaking weird. I can't really come up with reasons why this would happen other than if she met somebody unexpectedly and didn't know how to tell him, or maybe she was seeing somebody else at the same time and things progressed with that and she didn't know how to tell him, or maybe she has a husband somewhere. I don't know. But that's really the only thing I can think of that would just stop this communication after it seemed like the dates were going well. But even so, at this point, you have done everything. You have done everything you possibly could in terms of trying to get this relationship sorted out and moving back on track. I guess you could try to reach out to friends of hers if you had met any of them, but I think at this point, if you were going to do that, more out of like safety concerns.
Peace of mind.
Yeah, like peace of mind. But I don't think that out of like
Chasing
trying to get this relationship back, I don't think that is necessarily beneficial for you at this point.
Yeah. It likely is a classic ghosting experience.
It's really not classic though. It's really not I've been ghosted before, and one guy in particular I had gone on 6 dates with. We were very familiar with each other. There's no reason why there shouldn't have been a message, but I also didn't try to keep messaging. I took the first non-response as okay, like I guess that's that. Like I'm not going to keep pursuing something that isn't working out. But this is very different because they had a call set up, they had an actual date set up, they had things planned and on the books, and they had just seen each other. There's a lot of pieces to this that make it really weird.
Yeah. Well, there is a very reputable survey that shows ghosting is a widespread pattern across all ages. For example, 37% of U.S. adults age 30 to 49 report having been ghosted. And that statistic, of course, does not excuse that kind of behavior, but it does normalize the experience. And it does help with kind of disarming that what's wrong with me thought.
Yeah. I just feel like this is so random. If that is a thought of yours, like what's wrong with me or what did I do? You got to stop that line of thinking because it doesn't sound like there was anything that you did or could have done to avoid whatever this was, whatever her reasoning behind not responding or showing up to the date, whatever her reasoning was for not seeing this through or at least communicating if she wasn't interested anymore, that has everything to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
And let's like pray to God that it wasn't something that has to do with her safety and she's fine. But it definitely wouldn't be fair for you to be sitting here wondering what you could have done differently here.
Yeah. And, you know, when there's an explicit ending, your brain can wrap around that. But when the loss is so ambiguous, your brain sits and searches for a resolution. That's why this pain feels like it just keeps spinning. Mm-hmm. That uncertainty is an amplifier. It might help you to recognize that neuroscience so that you can close the loop on the pain that you keep feeling. Recognize what is actually happening. And I would challenge you to some self-compassion. That's definitely not soft. It's evidence-based. Studies show that self-compassion buffers the sting of rejection and it promotes a healthier, faster recovery. So what does that look like? It just sounds like talking to yourself in the way that you'd talk to a close friend who maybe got blindsided. Be very specific, be very kind, talk about the facts, and recognize when your primitive brain is spinning out because of the pain.
Yeah, I'm sorry that this happened. There's not very many submissions that take me back a little bit, but it is disheartening hearing that women are treating men this way. Yeah. It doesn't seem like anything was warranted here.
Some practical ways to move on. Write that letter that remains unsent. That is a very therapeutic way.
Write it and burn it. You can write it and shred it.
Oh, I could tell you some stories. Gracie loves to burn. Let's just say burning was very therapeutic for Gracie.
Oh my God. I was a little bit theatrical in high school.
A lot theatrical. Good Lord.
But it made me feel better, so maybe it will for you too.
Yeah, so I maybe don't recommend the fire, but just actually writing a letter that you don't send that signals that this is the end and creates closure for you versus having to wait for closure. So you're taking back control. We talked a little bit about separating the facts from the story. Set your dating standards going forward. Let this dictate and teach you what it is that you're looking for in a woman. This should shine a light on the kind of woman that you're looking for. So writing down what your standards, what your non-negotiables are going to be. Practice those rejection resilience type reps. See this as a way to build the muscle, to build your resilience. You're becoming a man who can handle this kind of rejection. And I think most importantly, if she circles back, don't throat punch her. Give her my number.
Tell her to shove it.
Yeah, no. If she ever circles back, I think that you can
hear her out, but I wouldn't trust.
I think you can be open to hearing her out, but I would also have your boundaries. You can say something like, when communication dropped after date 4 and you didn't show up for date 5, I closed the loop on my side. And if we revisit this, I want direct and consistent communication?
No. We're not revisiting anything. No. If she comes back around, there is no excuse for this type of behavior. And like I said, the only reason I can come up with is that like somebody else came into the picture. And if that was the case and it didn't work out and she's coming back to you or whatever, like it wasn't what she hoped it was, she doesn't get you as a second option. That's for damn sure. I honestly think this is what you should put into the letter. I think to get your own closure for yourself, like if she were to ever come back around, how you want to carry yourself, that's what you should put in this letter and like state it for yourself, like put it out there in clear writing of like, this is how I will respond. And it's okay to acknowledge the fact that you are really into her. And of course you want it to work out. And there's probably a strong part of you that does want things to still work out and does want her to come back around. But she's already shown you how she handles communication when things get hard. Whatever this hard decision was or whatever led her to stop communicating with you in the first place. And so protect yourself and also show her that you know your own worth. It's going to take a whole hell of a lot more than her just coming back and saying sorry for you to even consider letting her back into your life. I don't think you should, but if that were the case, I think that very first conversation is, I know my worth, and I definitely am not somebody who's going to sit around like waiting for somebody. You know you deserve better than this.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever her reasoning is. If she wasn't caught in a house fire and like recovering from third-degree burns, I don't think that you should let her back into your life. But that's just my personal opinion here.
Yeah. Work on your self-confidence, just trusting yourself to follow through on all of your decisions. Keep investing in the man who keeps his word. That's how you're going to create evidence for the person that you're becoming.
Yeah.
You are doing the most attractive thing a man can do by taking responsibility for your experience and getting support. Mm-hmm. So the truth bomb that we're going to leave you with is that you're not here to be chosen. You are here to choose, and your first choice is always you.
Hey there. If you're loving the Just Ask Her podcast, please take a quick second to rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps more awesome listeners like you find the show. And don't forget to spread the love by sharing this episode with all of your friends. All right, back to Just Ask Her.
Submission 3 is from Max. I go on an okay number of dates, but I either fail to make a connection or I make a good romantic connection and then somehow kill it. 2 weeks ago, I went on a first date with a girl. We had a great spark, went for a walk, and held hands. For once, it felt like something was really working. I even went for a kiss. It went smoothly. Before we left, I walked her to her car and she said, "One more kiss," which we did. She sent heart emojis afterward and said she couldn't wait to see me in 2 weeks when we had another date planned. Right after that, she started a new job and moved 1 to 2 hours away, so I gave her time to get settled. 2 days before our next date, I called to confirm a meeting spot, and the night before, she said she was super excited to see me, and I felt confident. Finally, things were going right. On the day of the date, she texted, "I think I'm sick." I figured she was still adjusting to her new schedule, but we'd already agreed to see each other that Saturday since she was off. Then she sent, "That's really nice of you. I'm really sorry. I'm just having a lot of anxiety right now, and I'm not feeling well. Unfortunately, I do not think today will work for me." I replied, "Okay, if there's anything I did, just let me know." She responded, "It's not anything you did. It's just starting my new job and always feeling super stressed, and it's making me sick. I think once I get more adjusted to everything, I will be in a better place to figure everything out." Maybe she's telling the truth. I have no clue. She's 22, I'm 21, and she's never had a boyfriend. Part of me can see why, based on how she texts. Either way, I don't get it. Sometimes I go on dates and there's no chemistry and the spark dies. This time we had great chemistry. She said she felt comfortable with me. We kissed and held hands, and then this happened. I don't know what I should do differently. I've spent the last 2 weeks wondering what I could have done better, or if she just can't communicate effectively. I put myself out there constantly and get dates, yet something like this keeps happening and I don't know why. Maybe I need to discuss relationship intentions earlier. I'm not sure. I'd appreciate any advice on what I could do next time that I connect with someone as well as I did with her.
Okay, this is a mix of a couple things. I'm glad you went into so much detail because I feel like it was helpful for me to see maybe what patterns are happening. It sounds like, yes, she's not a good communicator. It also sounds like she is not in the place to date anyone right now. It also sounds like she maybe is a little bit mentally unstable right now. And throwing dating on top of that usually is never a good mix. And for all of those reasons, she's probably just not a good option.
And that matters because it affords you an opportunity to learn rather than sitting here doubting yourself.
Yeah, it's just how things work sometimes. You're going to meet people you're interested in. You might go on a date with them and then you might realize, oh, wait, this person is not ready for a real relationship right now. And that happens, right? And she might have thought that she was, and now she's seeing that she's not. And it's a bummer. But at the same time, the good thing is you do have the ability to build chemistry, to connect with other women. So you can like take that into consideration for your next one, because you're saying that that's a concern of yours. I don't know what I'm doing to warrant no chemistry. It sounds like you guys had good chemistry. And so I would say repeat a lot more of what happened on that first date with her with future first dates to come, right? But I will say one of the things that stood out to me was when she came back and said that she wasn't feeling good, she wasn't going to go through with the date. And you said, okay, if there's anything I did, just let me know. No. Because you want to make things right. You want things to get back to where they were. Unless you actually did something wrong and you know it and it warrants an apology, don't ever go back on your worth by saying something like, okay, if there's anything I did, just let me know. Ew, no, don't do that. You're automatically telling her that she should think of you in that way. It's like, you didn't do anything wrong. You know you didn't do anything wrong. So don't plant that seed in her head that you're not confident enough to stand on your own 2 feet.
And almost take like responsibility for whatever the hell she's got going on.
Exactly. These almost self-deprecating lines that
where you're fishing.
Where you're fishing. It is not helpful in your case. And all it does is further validates that this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And it always has good intent. I get why you send these messages, but no more. We're not going back on things that you never even did wrong and planting that seed in her head. Instead, stand on the confidence and knowing your own value and knowing that, like, I'm a catch. If she doesn't see that or she's not in a place, somebody else is going to. The guy that has that kind of mentality is not going back and being like, oh, well, did I do anything wrong? Like, what did I do? It's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. And just to zoom out a little bit, her explanation is plausible. It is common. Starting a new job, relocating are pretty big life stressors, and it can increase anxiety during transition.
And she moved away. That's the other big piece in this. She moved away. So she could have just decided, I don't want to do long distance. And that was that.
And maybe she just doesn't have the bandwidth. But again, that speaks to her capacity, not your value.
Yeah, I agree. There could be multiple things stacked on top of each other here just because somebody else can't see it. Like, you have to be the one that holds your value high because nobody else is going to do it for you. And if you drop it or you start giving signals that you don't know your own value, then women are going to pick up on that. And it's further going to validate their suspicions or their doubts about whether this is going to work. Unfortunately, she made the decision already, right? Like, she decided, no, I'm not going to go on another date and I'm not ready to do that. And whether that's a valid reason or not, respect yourself and hold that standard high.
Yeah. The coaching that we want you to leave with the next time you feel that big spark, we want you to move from the spark to a low pressure, quick ask. So within 24 hours of a great first date, propose the plan for the second date and be very specific with a time and a place and a simple activity. Momentum dies when the logistics start to feel heavy or complicated. Ride the momentum of that first date and propose the second date.
Yeah, it sounds like here they like couldn't see each other for 2 weeks and that's going to happen. There's not anything that you can do about that. I agree. Don't wait 2 weeks to talk about or plant the seed for the second date at the very least. But if she moved away right after the first date, that's not on you.
Right. And I would also say really be open with your intentions. Frame your intentions early by date 2 or when you start to feel like things are going in the right direction. Tell her that you're dating to build something real. It doesn't necessarily have to put pressure on her or to rush things, but it does communicate the direction that you're going towards without being graspy. Start measuring for capacity, not just compatibility. Gracie has said so many times, chemistry is the spark, but connection is the fit. And with that, capacity is going to be the fuel. So new job plus moving is going to reduce her capacity. If she can't match your effort, then believe her actions and set a standard. I date women who reschedule within a week of life happening.
Yeah,
and if they honor it.
There's no such thing as right person, wrong time. There just isn't. And that's a very hard truth to come to terms with. But if the timing's not right, then it's not the right person. It is what it is. And if she's in a time in her life where things are chaotic and she can't prioritize dating, it is what it is. That just means she's probably not your person. Something that I used to believe was right person, wrong time. I think now I stand very firm on that. Can't be true. Because if it truly were the right person and timing wasn't exactly how you'd want it to look, they would make it work.
Yeah.
You would make the timing not become an issue. And
Right.
So don't get caught up in what could have been or how things could be different, because if things aren't aligned right now, it's telling about the relationship not being right.
And Max, lastly, I want to make sure that you normalize the disappointment that you're feeling and keep moving forward. Early dating is a high variance game. Large scale surveys show that many young adults feel more anxious year over year, and that anxiety often shows up as avoidant communication. So your job isn't to decode all of the wobbles. It's to keep showing up as the man who can tolerate the uncertainty, make clear invitations, and let the people who want to be a part of your life opt in. That's the real confidence that you're going to start showing up with, especially when you can normalize and neutralize the disappointment that you're feeling right now.
I appreciate you sending this in. I know it's not the outcome that you were hoping for, but keep your head up, keep moving forward, because your person is out there. And the only way they're going to be able to find you is if you put yourself back out there.
Yeah. Thanks for writing in, Max, and make sure you stay in touch.
That's it for this week's podcast. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dating with Gracie. We put out new episodes every single Wednesday. We look forward to seeing you right back here next week. And in the meantime, no matter where you are or what situation you're in, just ask her.